One of the things that I wanted to do with this movie was really try and set it in a reality. It's based on a comic book, but I did not want it to feel like a comic book movie. And if you look at most artifacts are not these gleaming, chromed out, beautiful kind of, pieces of metal. They tend to be things that are faded and worn or rusty or bent or broken or cracked. Some things are really almost unidentifiable.
I was drawn to this film because you read the script and it's, every prop guy would go, this is really fun to do.
So what's new?
Holy water ampoules from the River Jordan.
The holy hand grenades were little vials that actually were Christmas ornaments that were filled with holy water. They were a pretty simple little thing. We came up with all kinds of elaborate ideas, and the director, Francis, went, I think he would have grabbed some household thing. So we just went and got some Christmas ornaments and made these. When we did the scene with Keanu in Hell, where he smashes it against his chest, we made the same prop out of breakaway glass, so it was safe for him to use. Hell apparently doesn't have a lot of water in it, so it's the conduit to get back, so these are rather valuable to him while he's there. When we did the scene with Balthazar getting hit with the holy hand grenade,
That's better.
we made them out of water balloons. That way you could hit him right in the face and there'd be no danger of any accidents.
That's better. Jesus didn't die from being nailed to a cross. He was killed by a soldier's spear.
Spear of destiny.
This is actual recreation of the real piece. It's based on an artifact in the Habsburg Museum. We were able to get some very good photographs of it. This is supposedly the spear that pierced Christ's side at the crucifixion, and hence it has great power because it has the blood of Christ on it, literally. But no one really knows if this is actually the spear that pierced the side of Christ. And this was supposedly given to Constantine in the 3rd century, and since then it had a colorful history. At one point, the spear was broken off, the bottom disappeared. They found the bottom 100 years later. They supposedly put the two together with this piece of gold material, and then they took a nail from the true cross and actually inlaid it into the center here and wired it on. So they basically wanted to maximize the holiness of this piece. It disappeared into the hands of Hitler during World War II, and the legend is that whoever owned this spear, whoever wielded it, was invincible in battle. And after the Allies recaptured this, Hitler died 2 hours later in his bunker. One of my favorite props in the show, it's Constantine's lighter, which we made an oversized lighter because the director wanted something that just had a bigger feel. This here is the medal of Saint Benedict, who was the patron saint of fighting witchcraft. We also put a little inscription on the side, which means, "Let justice be done, though the world is destroyed." It was carved out of brass metal, and we actually used the inside of a real Zippo lighter, because being prop men, we want to make sure it works, and I tell you, there's nothing better than a Zippo, because it lit all the time. It was great. The pack of cigarettes that Constantine smokes, it's a fictional pack of cigarettes, and it's something that Beeman brings back for him because it's a Chinese brand, which translates Yellow River. And we had one of our artists in the art department do up a fantastic little design on it. Looks better than a lot of real cigarette packs. This is a rubber version of some brass knuckles that we made. These are supposedly melted down from holy relics made out of gold, and hence had great powers to them. A little crucifix poured into it, a little filigree, and a lot of Latin lettering.
May God have mercy on you.
We got the Great Book of Latin Inscriptions, and so this was some religious inscriptions from like the 16th century. We put 4 of the 7 deadly sins on each knuckle, and crosses here on the front. We talked about doing some work where they would CG and do makeup effects of little crosses smoldering on Balthazar's face, but I think they pretty much decided that would just be lost in all of his goo.
Come on, you don't need its protection. It'll be like back in the day.
This amulet is what Hennessy uses to protect himself from evil spirits when he travels in the ether. And we were getting tired of doing crosses, so we wanted to do something that was a little different. This is actually based on a symbol for the Holy Trinity that we did a little variant on with a circle and put some archaic lettering onto it, which probably no one will ever see except me.
Think of it as a bulletproof vest.
John, there is no 17th act in Corinthians.
Corinthians goes to 21 acts in the Bible in hell.
They have Bibles in hell.
The Bible from Hell is a book that Beeman uses to find out who Mammon is and what he's trying to do with the Spear of Destiny. We had an illustrator do up some pictures for us. I went to great lengths to actually write the copy for the script and then have it translated into Latin. The cover's rather obscured at this point, but it's actually wrapped up in plastic in the movie, and it's all covered in like a black slime.
Holy Shotgun's pretty good, which I end up wreaking some havoc with, which is fun.
This prop went through a lot of changes in the film.
We had first thought that it was maybe Constantine who put it together from some of Beeman's old notes, kind of like Leonardo da Vinci, only in your garage. And he would tape a flashlight to an old gun and can of butane, and it would look really funky but be an effective magical tool.
It was sort of a mess. The intentions, I think, were right going in, but the gun just did not look good. So we then just started to build the different kinds of relics that this gun came from. And then we started to try and unify them so that when they locked together, you could say they were actually originally designed to be pulled apart and put together to form this gun.
In the final film, you don't really see the assembly of it, but we did one scene where the prop is assembled. So actually all these are different components of holy relics in Beeman's lair.
No, you're not supposed to be up here.
This would snap together, like that. Pull the cross out.
So we did a test with the other microwave system.
That snaps in. Thank you, Dragon's Breath. Fuck.
Hello. 27. 19.
There you have it. The Holy Shotgun.
Parts to anything.
It was a hard prop to build because it's about, 8 props in one. We had to keep the weight down so it was easy to use. It was a functioning prop. The light on it had to light. It had to fire. There's a lot of elements to it that were mechanical, which always makes it a lot more challenging. Because so many of these props were from different places and different eras, we tried to get some things to look very different. I think there's an overall look to the film that's reflected in the props.